If you're a normal person, chances are you've never taken the time to read a full privacy policy or terms and conditions. In fact, chances are you probably don't even really know what they really do and what their real differences are. In this short and sweet video, I'm going to try to explain what these policies are, why they help protect a business, why they help respect the privacy rights of your website visitors, and what you can do about getting proper policies in place for your business. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Hi, everyone. My name is Hans. I'm the co-founder and VP of Termageddon.com, where we are an auto-updating website policy solution. Please note that everything I provide in this video today is not legal advice and should be for informational purposes only. Always speak with your attorney before making any legal decisions. All right, so let's start defining some policies so that you can feel a little bit more educated on why each one exists, and then we'll dive into additional details. So there's privacy policies, terms, cookie policies, disclaimers, and even end user license agreements. And then there's additional statements like accessibility statements and so forth. But I'm going to focus on these top five to start. So a privacy policy explains your privacy practices to your website visitors. That's it. That's really it. Now that's the tip of the iceberg, though. It gets a lot deeper than that. A privacy policy exists because governments are regulating the personal information of individuals. So if you have a website and you're collecting things like people's names, their email addresses, their phone numbers, maybe behind the scenes, you're collecting IP address and device information for analytics and security purposes, it's important to understand people's names, their emails, their IPs. These are pieces of personal information, and that's what governments are regulating now. And regardless of where you're located, what really matters is whose data are you collecting? Privacy laws protect people. So we as website owners, we need to find out what laws apply to us. And each and every privacy law writes that out. Hey, you need to make disclosures under our privacy law if these particular characteristics apply to you. Some privacy laws apply to you as soon as you collect as little as an email address from a Canadian, for example. While other privacy laws like GDPR apply to you as soon as you're tracking an individual from the EU visiting your website. So we as website owners need to find the laws that apply to us, because only then can we actually look up each law and determine the disclosures we're specifically required by law to disclose. So back to the beginning, a privacy policy explains your privacy practices to your website visitors, and a compliant privacy policy will provide the exact disclosures required by you under the laws that apply to you. Failure to comply with privacy laws can result in massive fines. And I mean massive by saying, I'll give you the minimum fine. The minimum fine is under CPRA, and that is $2,500 per website visitor whose rights you've infringed upon. That's the minimum fine. All the other fines for noncompliance for other privacy laws go much higher. You know, if you have 100 visitors from California and get dinged for CPRA, that's 100 times 2,500, which I'm pretty sure is, what is that, 250,000? Yes, $250,000 for noncompliance with CPRA. And it's like, why not take the time to respect people's privacy rights and provide a privacy policy? Don't we want that as individuals? So that's something to keep in mind. Also keep in mind the fact that privacy laws constantly change. So you can't just have a privacy policy and just walk away and think I'm good to go forever. There are new laws going into effect on a yearly basis. And these new laws, if applicable to you, will require you to make new disclosures in your privacy policy. So we as website owners need to have a strategy to not only create a comprehensive privacy policy compliant with today's privacy laws, but we have to have a strategy to keep it up to date over time. And don't worry, I'm going to talk about how you can get policies generated for cheap or expensive shortly here. I'm guessing the cheap one sounds a little better in that, in that scenario. But let's head over to the other policies. So privacy policy exists to comply with privacy laws and provide your privacy practices to your users. A terms of service, otherwise known as terms and conditions, terms of use, terms, T&Cs. These are all interchangeable phrases for a document that you provide to your users, your website visitors, that explain the rules to using your website. I like a terms of service for virtually any website because it's just basically a bunch of statements that help you limit your liability. Little statements like, hey, we offer links to third-party websites. We're not responsible when you click on one of those links. So if you click a link and you go to a third-party site and that site gets hacked and you get hacked, you can't come back and sue us. A terms statement will provide a series of disclosures that help you limit your liability in those circumstances. So terms help you not get sued for providing rules to using the website. A terms also is extremely beneficial for e-commerce websites where you have to explain refunds, cancellation policies. If you offer subscriptions, you have to explain the rules to canceling those and shipping details and all the things that make up e-commerce disclosures. That sits within a terms and conditions. If you're thinking, well, I need a shipping policy, don't I? Well, you could have a separate shipping policy if you'd like, or you can have it all under one single terms of service that explain all those policies you have. So terms of service help you limit your liability, aka not get sued, by making a series of disclosures that help your website visitors understand the rules to using your website. A privacy policy explains your privacy practices to your website and visitors. A disclaimer is kind of like an extension of a terms of service to a certain degree. A disclaimer is only needed under certain business industries. So if you offer advertisements from third-party advertisers, if you sell health products like diet pills, nutrition supplements, weight loss pills, if you provide anything such as health advice or fitness tips, if you're providing anything that could be interpreted that way, you certainly want a disclaimer. If you provide anything that could be seen as legal advice, if you're like a law firm blogging about changes in legislation and things like that. Or if you provide affiliate links, those are all good examples where a disclaimer can help further limit the liability of the website by disclaiming certain facts. You see those commercials during like the Super Bowl where you see like an advertisement for like some sort of new drug or prescription you can take. And at the very end, there's that person that talks super fast, like, don't take this if you're pregnant. You know, if you feel nauseous, call a doctor. Those are disclaimers, and websites need them as well under certain industries. Then there's the cookie policy. A cookie policy is kind of like an extension of the privacy policy and is only required under some, not all, privacy laws. If GDPR and the e-privacy directive apply to you, for example, you need to provide a cookie policy that explains your use or non-use of non-essential cookies. So that goes into a whole separate conversation. I think I have some other videos about it. Feel free to comment if you'd like me to create a video discussing it further. But for the sake of this conversation, a cookie policy it's an extension of a privacy policy, specifically talking about your use of cookies, whether they be essential, functional, or marketing cookies. Then I think I mentioned we'll talk about the EULA. An end user license agreement, otherwise known as an EULA, is only needed if you are offering software to your customers. So if customers buy software packets from your website or you're redistributing software, and if you want to explain, what a license is with regard to their purchase, whether you allow them to redistribute it or sell it to other people, an EULA can explain that in more detail. I mentioned an accessibility statement. Accessibility statement helps limit your liability by explaining your accessibility standards that you've achieved. And w3.org, where they set the accessibility standards, actually provides a free template generator for an accessibility statement. So if you Google search w3.org accessibility statement generator, you'll be able to find the free template that they provide. And that's good leeway into just how do I get the other policies just in general. There's two routes. The best route by far is to contact your attorney, ensure that they understand privacy laws and consumer protection laws, and have them draft your policies that help you comply with the laws that currently apply to you, and also ensure that you are providing the rules to using your website, whether you have an e-commerce website or not. An attorney is the best route to go because they can provide you legal services. But the reality is, attorneys can be quite expensive, especially knowing that in the future, there will be new disclosures that need to be required of your website if new laws apply to you. So you need to ask your attorney to constantly stay up to date with these changing privacy laws. That is why there is an alternative that's kind of growing and trending upwards, which are website policy generators. So full disclosure, I'm a little bit biased because I run Termageddon. We are a privacy policy generator. We are an alternative to an attorney. We certainly don't replace an attorney because we don't provide legal advice. That's the biggest con to website policy generators. But in general, policy generators will help you identify the laws that apply to you, and their questionnaire will adapt to ask you the questions necessary to make the disclosures required under the applicable laws that apply specifically to you. And a good generator will also help you keep your policies updated automatically with newly required disclosures whenever the laws pass. And companies like Termageddon, we provide like a little embed code that you copy and paste into the body of your policy pages. And that's what allows us to obviously notify you first if there's changes in legislation, let you know if there's any new questions you need to answer. And then boom, we ship off the newly required disclosures just before the effective date of the new laws, helping you stay compliant and limit your liability. So again, in summary, website policies help you comply with laws. They help you limit your liability. And the best way to get policies created and updated over time is an attorney. But if you don't have that type of money, website policy generators like Termageddon are an excellent alternative. I hope this video was helpful. Feel free to subscribe as time goes on. I hopefully will be creating more of these videos. And if you have any requests for any videos for us to create, please add a comment. We'd love to listen to you and create some videos to help you out. Thank you so much. Bye.